What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, coming at you with yet another talking head video. Today we're going to talk about your last chance to buy Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, because that's the best clickbait title to show you guys and talk about the differences between previous Bitcoin super cycles and this one in particular. Now we'll get into it right after a word from our sponsor, who, of course, if you are looking at purchasing Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies today before an expected pump in the near future for the holiday, you can get an additional $25 with a funded account. I get $25 if you fund the account. You get $25. The buddy that you referred to me with gets $25, or gets you $25. Everybody gets $25. Crypto.com is the Oprah of cryptocurrency. And I guess I'm the Oprah of cryptocurrency mining channels. Not really. We don't do giveaways here. Just we stopped doing that a long time ago. Check out the sponsor. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs quickly while earning up to 8% cash back. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Welcome back. So if you guys aren't aware, we have finally cracked that $60,000 mark on Bitcoin. So if we hop into the charts on coinmarketcap.com, as you can see, we are back over and have actually cracked into that $60,000 mark. We're at $61,381 as of right now. The previous all-time high in April of 2021 was $63,109. And this cycle looks quite a bit different than previous cycles, at least in my humble opinion, because the pump started all the way back in 2020. Whereas if we take a look really at the previous cycle, the pump really started in 2017 and kind of ended in 2017. And so I was kind of thinking possibly, just from previous cycles, that we were going to see maybe a prolonged bear market, but we seem to have recovered past that. And I'm not a TA guy, you know what I mean? And yes, I'm talking about trade analysis. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not a TA guy. I'm a miner. Yes, I have to know a little bit to trade, make sure I don't get screwed on that. But at the end of the day, I'm primarily mining. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at. So don't take any of this as financial advice. I am just making the point that this does seem a little bit outside the norm. So when does Bitcoin, through its cycles, tend to pump? Well, during the holiday season. And this holiday season might see it pump even more rapidly due to, of course, the socio-economical status of the entire world, economy, and all that, right? So let's go ahead and talk about that. First of all, what's going on? What might influence this outside of previous cycles? That means that basically what I'm looking at are things that are going to cause cryptocurrency to be not only mainstream, but to continue to rise, as opposed to going through the normal cycle where it goes down for a couple of years into a bear market and then comes back up at the next halving of Bitcoin, which we've talked about in the past. And the thing is this time things are a little bit different. This will be, in theory, the first largest economic crisis that people have gone through since the inception of Bitcoin. Now, there is a lot of theories around Bitcoin being developed after the housing market crash in 2008. And that was a big deal, of course. And that was the catalyst for the idea for Bitcoin, or at least in theory, which obviously should interpret into basically being an asset that you would want to hold through another economic crisis or housing market crash and the likes of that, right? So is it getting bad? Well, if we take a look, at, of course, the U.S. economy, we have a debt ceiling crisis that we are worried about. And this has happened, quite a few times. We've always kind of gotten through it. This time, I wouldn't expect it to be much different. However, it is important to pay attention to. Now, the House has passed a $480 billion increase in the country's borrowing ceiling. However, that is only going to last us to December. So if nothing happens in December, we're still going to be kind of in that same position of defaulting within the debt. And then the next thing that we need to talk about is not only that, right? But we have the inflation, where I think it's approximate, and double check me in the comments here, but it's 40% of all of the supply of the US dollar has been printed within the past year. It might even be more than that at this point, but that was last I checked, and that's a pretty hefty amount. That means that the value of the dollar is going to go down in its buying power. We talked about this last year, and the idea that the price of Bitcoin isn't going up. It's just that the price of the dollar is going down and Bitcoin is protecting your buying power. Hence, in theory, it is serving its original purpose, if its original purpose is to protect the everyday Joe from things like inflation and things that we don't control, right? So pretty much like if you're talking about like treasuries, governments, banks, they can kind of control the flow of money. But whenever they print more money, they basically hurt everybody else. Like now, all of a sudden, your savings isn't worth as much as it was yesterday due to, of course, the decisions they've decided to make on that. Now, finally, we also have to take into account the holiday season and shortages. So track with me. The holiday season is in general a time when cryptocurrency does pump up. Part of this can be due to people purchasing it for friends and family as gifts and so on, as well as speculation in that last final quarter of the year. And that can be for whatever reasons, right? Purchasing assets before tax season, whatever that may be. It just seems to tend to go up in price in the holiday season. Now, this holiday season is going to be even more interesting due to shortages. Now, if you guys haven't been paying attention to supply chains, etc., there is a lot of signaling of shortages coming for this holiday season. What that means is that there will be less products on the shelves to purchase for, of course, well, your friends and family. So what would you default to? Well, maybe you default to cryptocurrency. So the pump of cryptocurrency during the holiday season might be exacerbated by said shortages. People don't have things to put all that money into. Maybe they're just getting cash from their family. Maybe they're getting, their quarterly bonus from work. They go out, they're like, well, I can't really afford to buy those big ticket items that I used to be able to afford to buy, right? A lot of people use those bonuses for things like purchasing new vehicles. Well, the price of new vehicles has gone up due to inflation by something like 40 to 80%, depending on the manufacturer, which is insane. So people aren't going to be able to dump the same amount of money or their typical bonus that hasn't gone up with inflation, right, into that new down payment for a fancy new car, which, by the way, I would never condone you doing anyways. Just buy a used car and drive it till it breaks down and doesn't run anymore, then buy another cheap used car. You're going to be a lot better off. Of course, there is that little inkling of me that's like, well, now you can basically buy any car and it goes up in value, which is the first time in history that's ever been a thing. Just kind of a side note tangent. In the past, it's always been like, don't ever buy a car for investment. But now, oddly enough, it seems to work right at this particular moment. Not financial advice, just kind of a funny note of, I guess, when crap hits the fan, people need to buy vehicles and there's not as many vehicles available. So supply and demand, there you go. I think I got a little bit off on that tangent because it's something that I noticed recently. But what happens when you don't have those big ticket items to dump your holiday bonus into, or whatever money you're getting from grandma and grandpa into, you may dump it into cryptocurrency, which will drive the price of cryptocurrency up. It is quite possible that throughout December, we see all-time highs in Bitcoin. Once again, not financial advice, and I don't do a lot of trade analysis. It's just the gut kind of feeling that I've had previously, like last year, but when we decided to start re-upping on the farm and building that out, of this looks like what it's going to be. Now, due to all of these things, mass inflation, the, of course, possible debt ceiling issues with the US government, and the shortages of course, goods and services, means that cryptocurrency might be here to stay in a longer run than your standard Bitcoin super cycle, meaning that we might not see that huge crash that we saw in 2018 this time. It may level out. Now, of course, I don't know this for sure, but in times of, great unrest and these types of things happening, it could lean towards that being a possibility for not only a store of value, but for transacting. Now, not Bitcoin in particular. We've talked about that with the Bitcoin ATM. Check that video out if you want to see me wait a couple hours to get cash out of an ATM with Bitcoin. But it could be some other crypto. I'm not going to pump or dump any coins here on this particular one. I'll let you guys give me your opinions on which ones would be used for transacting down in the comment section below. My joke has always been, should have used Litecoins to send payment, but that's the joke. There's plenty of other ones out there. That was a lot to get through. So, in summary, what are we looking at right now? If you purchase Bitcoin right now, you probably still will be looking at an increase in price due to debt ceiling limits, inflation, and product shortages before a holiday season. And that's where we're at. Now, we also need to talk about chip shortages for the miners here on this channel, because this is important. I see a lot of people not wanting to spend money on GPUs for mining, but you need to take something into account here that is very important. And that is that we are not looking at relief for chip shortages for up to a year, probably maybe even beyond that. Actually, more than likely a year and another quarter from the reports before these new plants and facilities are ready to start pushing out enough production. And even then, that's only to meet demand, not to exceed demand and alleviate all of the demand, right? So at this point, you need to start taking that into account, because this is not only affecting GPUs, but it will be affecting, of course, ASICs, etc. Because primarily the chips that we're referring to that are going to be in high demand are the memory modules. Now, if you mine, you're very aware that memory speed and memory performance is kind of the number one metric when judging mining performance. And if that's the portion that shortages are hitting, it's going to be very difficult to buy mining equipment, at least in theory, due to, of course, the shortages, etc. So when you see the ridiculous prices of the GPUs, just keep in mind, it might get more ridiculous. And I'm not being facetious here. I have been considering this, and I've been overpaying for quite a few GPUs, all the way up to $2,600 on the 3090. This is not financial advice. This is just something I'm doing, because at this point, if I look at the chip shortage and the market and everything getting backed up in shipping containers, I'm not sure how many more miners in general that I'm going to be able to purchase before the end of this bull run, essentially, for Bitcoin. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. It could fail miserably and I end up with just a bunch of bricks that are worth nothing in my mining warehouse, or it could work out wonderfully and we all go to the moon together, or maybe even Mars. that's my thoughts, my talking head video today. If you found anything helpful here, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Remembering that this is not financial advice, it's just kind of me talking about what I'm doing and some of the things that I'm noticing and why I'm doing it, just giving you the reasoning behind it. I thought today was a perfect day to talk about it. Obviously, the clickbait title will probably be upsetting to some, and they'll say, you know, do the more technical videos, and I will point you guys to the last week where I've done a video a day of technical videos that are not getting viewed. So what do I need y'all's help for? I need y'all's help for those technical videos to, even if it's not something that you necessarily need, but you may need in the future, go ahead and check it out and click that like on it. Make sure you hit those notification bells so you get notified when videos are going live. And on some of these technical ones, what I'm trying to do is make at least the intro kind of cinematic and fun to watch, like a quick breakdown with music layered over it of the entire process. Just a little quick, like 60 seconds in the beginning. So there's some entertainment value there outside of just learning the how-to and the information. But I need y'all's support as far as that goes, because we are down on the algorithm after taking too much time off to quit cigarettes. Well, nicotine. I wasn't smoking cigarettes, but you know, nicotine. Anyways, that's kind of the whole story there. This weekend, I am moving into my new permanent facility. So look over here for some vlogs that we should be getting out to you guys here shortly. I will see you next Tuesday. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to see more. Also, you can check out this playlist for more content talking about cryptocurrency.